Hello guys, my name is Ruhan Madin Akash. I'll be taking another poem now, which is by Sylvia Plath. The poem's name is Mad Girl's Love Song. Sylvia Plath is a poet of the modern era in America that I really enjoy reading because she talks about herself. She's one of the confessional poets of America. In fact, one of the leading confessional poets of America who gave a thrust to confessional poetry and that genre in the world at that point of time. And confessional poetry is a genre where a poet describes himself or herself and the emotions he or she is going through and tries to connect with the people. Sylvia Plath is a very dark poet, and this poem is a little dark too. And it goes something like this. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my lids and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red, and arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. I think I made you up inside my head. God topples from the sky, hell's fires fade, exits seraphim and Satan's men. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name. I think I made you up inside my head. I should have loved a thunderbird instead. At least when spring comes, they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head. This particular genre of poetry, confessional poetry, doesn't have a real scheme, but poets basically include all kinds of refrains into this genre. And the form that Sylvia Plath has written a Mad Girl's Love Song in is called villanelle, where you have like 3 lines in each and every stanza, and the last stanza has 4 lines. The first line of each stanza and the last line of each stanza have the same refrain, and the second line of each stanza of all of the stanzas had the same refrain. In this case, dead, head, red, dead again, bed, head, etc., being the first and the last line of each stanza, and again, in, insane, men, etc., being the second line of the refrain in each stanza. So let's take the first stanza up. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my lids and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head. So the poet is basically describing her condition after a lost lover, after love that failed, and the lover isn't coming back any soon. So she says, I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. The poet believes that seeing is believing. And when she shuts her eyes and numbs all her emotions, the world drops dead. There is no pain, there is no happiness. It's just a limbo that goes through. I lift my lids and all is born again. But reality is something else. When she opens her eyes again, she sees the world and all the pain and all the suffering and all the melancholy and all the sadness, all the heartbreaks come back to her. I think I made you up inside my head. The poet wants to believe that she made him, her lover, inside her head. And he's not real. But that's not true. Because in the previous line she said, I lift my lids and all is born again. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red, and arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. The stars go waltzing out in blue and red is a line that different people, different poetry critics have summarized and described in different ways. But the way that I like the most is that says that the stars go waltzing out in blue and red basically means that in her sadness, even the stars have left her. And they're really excited to leave her alone because they go waltzing out in blue and red. They just don't go, they go waltzing out in blue and red. This is the beauty of Sylvia Plath and her poetry. She is very, 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 imagery loving and induces this kind of imagery in her readers. And arbitrary blackness gallops in. Not only the stars, but even blackness, darkness, night loves to torture her more after her lover has left. It seems as if the whole world is conspiring against her. Arbitrary blackness gallops in. What the word arbitrary basically describes here is that it's arbitrary. It can happen to anyone, but with her, this blackness gallops in. It's very eager to come in. and torture her. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. And the only way she can deal with the world torturing her, with these stars waltzing out in blue and red and arbitrary blackness galloping in, is by shutting her eyes and numbing herself to the emotions that she's feeling around herself. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. I think I made you up inside my head. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed. The poet describes a dream, which is not actually a dream, but metaphorically speaking. She says that it's a dream that you bewitched me into bed. When she uses the word bewitched, we come to know that this is not a real good romance that we are talking about. It's not like we say love is magic. It's something that pertains to black magic, bewitching people. The poet is in this stanza is basically describing the adverse effects of love. I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed and sung me moonstruck, kissed me quite insane. The poet is moonstruck by his charm, by his black charm, not good charm, and kissed me quite insane. Again, the adverse effects of love. I think I made you up inside my head. Why she puts this line at the end of this stanza is because in the first line she says, I dreamed that you bewitched me into bed. So her belief that it was a dream leads her to believe that I think I made you up inside my head, that she thinks she probably made him inside her head. God topples from the sky, hell's fires fade, exits seraphim and Satan's men. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. In this stanza, the poet basically tries to make herself believe that she doesn't believe in anything. She talks about God toppling from the skies and the fires of hell fading, which basically is impossible, but she wants to believe it because only then, when such things happen, only then her actions won't have any consequences. The actions that are induced by sadness and melancholy after her lover left her. Exit seraphim and Satan's men. Seraphim being angels and, the good things that happen in the afterlife, and Satan's men too. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. The only way that she can deal with all this is by shutting her eyes and the world dropping dead. But that's not true. God still exists in her mind, hell still exists in her mind, seraphim still exist in her mind, and Satan still exists in her mind. The only way she can deal with all the heartbreak is by shutting her eyes and numbing herself to all the emotions she feels. I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name. I think I made you up inside my head. This stanza is what I believe the poet wants to convey through it is revenge, because her lover has left her and forgotten her. He doesn't come back to her, and that's the only reason she says, I fancied you'd return the way you said, but I grow old and I forget your name, which is not actually true, because the poet is going through a lot of emotions and a lot of melancholy and a lot of heartbreak, but still she says, I grow old and I forget your name, in a way to avenge the feeling that she has because of her lover. I think I made you up inside my head. Again, a taunt at her lover, that she thinks she made him up inside her head, but it's all true, it's all real. I should have loved a thunderbird instead. At least when spring comes, they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head. The poet says that she should have loved a thunderbird, which is a beautiful bird, instead. When spring comes, they at least come back, but her lover doesn't come back. This stanza actually again proves that the last stanza was nothing but a taunt, and in an avenging manner to her lover who has left her and forgotten her. At least when spring comes back, at least when spring comes, they roar back again. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead. I think I made you up inside my head. Again, escapism. The poet is again trying to believe that she made him up inside her head, and all the pain and suffering that she's feeling is non-entity. It doesn't really exist. It's just fake. It doesn't exist. I think I made you up inside my head. Again, the same escapism. I believe that's the end of the poem, and as I said, this poem is called, the type of poetry that she uses, the type of technique that she uses here is called a villanelle. I hope that you use it sometime and read more about it. Thank you.